Hi, we're here this morning with Charles Gatewood in his penthouse apartment in San Francisco, speaking to him about his work in photography and collage.
Hey Justin, hey y'all. I'm Charles. I'm here to take you on a little tour of my home and my studio. And I'm going to show you some of my books. Here's a few of them. I love bookmaking. I've done about a dozen books, and I'm working on a couple of new ones right now. Here's one of my favorites. This is kind of a greatest hits book. I call it the Fat Girl book. This was my first book, and it was such an honor to get this published. All my best early work. And William Burroughs was so kind as to write an introduction for me. And this book put me on the map. I was living in Manhattan, and suddenly people were saying, "Hey, aren't you the guy? Didn't you make that book?" And my whole life changed. Now I was a well-known photographer. I had a loft in Chelsea and Manhattan. I was married to a wonderful gal. My book came out. Like I say, my whole life changed in a really nice way, and the rest is history. So we're going to walk around my studio here, and I'm going to give you just a little taste of what I've done and what I'm doing. As long as we're here, let me show you some more books. This is a book I love. It's a pretty book. Sold out, actually, 2,000 copies. And this is a book about modern primitives. I was one of the early guys to get in and document this phenomenon of modern people following their urge to do primitive things. And this is a beautiful book. 300-line duotone printing, good layout. One of my favorites. Here's another book called Wall Street. In the early 70s, I was working, I had a loft near Wall Street, down in lower Manhattan. And I started doing pictures of the Wall Street area. I had a loft nearby, so I could walk over there anytime and take pictures. And it's not the wonderful world of Wall Street. This is the dirty world of Wall Street, how oppressive it is, how awful it is, and what the people who work there are like. This book won 2 major fellowships, including the Leica Medal of Excellence, which is really a big deal. And it sold out, and we're talking about reprinting it now. I have an arrangement with the Bancroft Library at UC Berkeley, and they just bought my entire archive, almost everything. However, they left me a few. Pat around the room here, I'll show you. They didn't take everything. Here, for example, is a tattooed fetus. You know, they looked at that and looked at each other, and they said, "We don't have a proper storage facility for something this big. Why don't you keep these big ones?" Well, it's not because they didn't have a storage facility. It's because it was too much for the curators. But that's okay. I'll place those elsewhere. Continuing on, let's pause at this table a little bit. We're going to be jumping around, but here's 3 new books I'm working on. I'm 73 years old. I'm supposed to be retiring now, but instead I'm working harder than ever, using what I have. This is leftovers from the Bancroft acquisition. So I'm having a ball making my books, artist books. This is one of one, and this is the dirty book that I'm going with. These others, this one's done. This one's completely done. And another one is in the works. I'll show you in a minute. We have all the makings for a new book. Also, it'll be called Dirty 2, I guess. So this is fun. I never tire of making these scrapbooks and making these collages. So this is what I've been working on lately. I've been working on a book called The Black Book. Actually, right now it's 2 books, but that'll take care of itself as we go through the editing process. And I've just about finished with the first rough layout. I'll show you some more in the back in a minute. But it's really fun to get to this point where actually you can see that, wow, that goes with that. This goes here. This can't stay if that goes here. It's a process. It's fun. Finally, after collecting all these images, there's something to do with them. And putting the books together is the big climax. I love this part of the work. So come on, let's take a walk down this way. Here's more of the same picture of Burroughs. I've made several portraits of Burroughs. I shot him for Rolling Stone in 1972. And boy, my stock went up fast. Rolling Stone made me a staff member, and I had a lot of fun, made some money, and I got to hang out with all the big names in rock and roll, from Bob Dylan to Rod Stewart, all those early 70s guys and gals. Okay, here's more of those big silk screens. There's 8 altogether. Spider Webb, the tattooist, did this tattooing, and a piercer did this lovely piercing. We'll see more of those as we go on with our tour here. Look at this. This is a nice view of my hallway. This is what it looks like when I'm working. Okay, down the hall. These are for a book in progress called Dirty. And it's all color. And it's partly collage and partly just kind of ripped and torn. And some of the pictures are just, this goes with this, and boom, that's done. So it's kind of hard to describe these. That was a Folsom Fair. This was a shoot with a model at her apartment. Here's another dirty picture with Georges Bataille giving a quote. Here's at the Citadel, a shot in a dungeon playroom. Love it. This man is systematically cutting off all his fingers and all his toes, one joint at a time. I know him from my New York days. There's a stairway at the end of my street here, quiet little street. These 2 pictures of 2 different models were taken at the end of that stairway. I love photographing nudes in public. It really gets my blood moving. So this is a hoot. It's me and a BDSM radical sex guy named Dragon. And it's a collage, of course. We didn't really put on those rubber outfits, but that's one of my favorites. Here is a 4-way of Annie Sprinkle, here with Spider Webb, and here back with her mousetrap. She's looking to catch a man, I think. Annie Sprinkle and I have been working together since, oh gosh, early 70s, I guess. I'm going to get run out of town for this one, the Black Book. The Black Book is dirty. They're getting all mixed up, but that's okay. This is Marco Bassi. I knew him well in New York. He was one of the radical sex players, and he practiced what he preached. He was an amazing guy. He died of AIDS about 15 years ago. He played the edge a little too hard. This is at the Folsom Fair. I love the picture and the way the shadow falls there. This is Spider Webb, the tattooist I worked with. And the tattooed fetus. You think that's ugly? Stick around, I got other weird pictures. We could pop over to this gal. I photographed her several times. This is Addie Sprinkle on my back deck. Wonderful afternoon. This is a little more abstract. There's a finger pointing at CIA-AIDS, which refers to, there are some people who think the CIA had something to do with AIDS. And here's a death figure and so on. Some of these black ones are getting more abstract, as you'll see. Here's Stephen Johnson Leyba. He calls himself the angry satanic Indian priest. And he's one of the most radical people I know. I mean, he does outrageous things. This girl's spitting in his mouth. I can't begin to tell you. Here's an ode to the Nazis and swastika and strange. I mean, it's strange. Where do you go from there? This guy's Sailor Sid. He died recently. He was one of the early modern primitives. He had 60 piercings in his cock and balls. He had lots more stuff than this. This is only about halfway in his body art journey. And on a lot of these, you'll see there's extra decoration. But you'll also notice that except for a few red touches here and there, this is the black book. It's all black and shades of gray. And I'm finding I kind of prefer that to all the color. It surprised me. Here's Brigitte Bardot with a butt full of pins. Here's one of my models showing this incredible knife, 666, tattooed on her pussy, which is pierced and shaved. And the tattoo says, that which binds you sets you free. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. This is a picture I took at Oregon. University of Oregon had me as a public speaker, and this gal came up to me after my talk and asked if she could do pictures with me. And this is later that night at my motel. The shark wasn't there, but she was. This is not my picture, and I may leave it out for that.
Where do you find a lot of your material for the collages?
The last time, my friend Justin got me a whole stack of old Life magazines and all kinds of old picture magazines. And I'm going to ask him to get me another stack, another batch, because I used all the ones. And I didn't know that I'd be taken over by the collage project, but I'm not complaining because I have another exciting thing to do. You know, I'll never sit around and say, what shall I do today? It's overwhelming stuff to do. And I find when I'm working with the collage material that I'm there, I'm gone, I'm in ecstasy. I can't stop. I mean, it really is seductive. And it really sets me on fire to do that kind of work.